Okay, so you guys say, oh, no, you're bugging me about
16.
16?
That's fine.
16.
And that's fine.
Okay. 16 has just a little trick in there because of the cubes. What I'm going to do, Jordan, is it says x cubed and then it says minus 13x. So we're skipping the x squared. So I'm going to just write in 0x squared. Okay? And then minus 13x minus 12. Okay? So what can you multiply x by to get x cubed? X squared. So now I need to multiply this stuff back through by x squared. And that gives me x cubed minus 4x squared. And that's why I put this 0 in here, so that I would have a space for the squares to go. Okay. Now, some of you are struggling with the whole subtraction idea. I always do this by changing the sign on these things and then adding. And I don't have to remember that I'm subtracting. So these cancel, and then that gives me 4x squared there. Bring down the negative 13x. What can I multiply x by to get 4x squared? Sydney? 4x.
But when does x squared go above the 0x squared and 4x above negative 30?
Sure. Okay. Okay, then Jordan, if I multiply that back through, I get what? I get 4x squared, and then minus 16x, right? And again, I'm going to go through and change the signs on there. Negative 13x plus 16x is 3x minus 12. Really? We'll have to multiply the x by to get 3x. 3. And then when I multiply back through, I get 3x minus 12. And so since those are the same, that means that the remainder is 0. So this is a factor of that. Okay, 18 is the same as those other ones. But when it says, is it a factor, all they're saying is, can you divide it into there and get a remainder of 0? So we're going to go through the same process, and then we're just going to look and see what we get at the end. And if the answer is 0, then it's yes, it is a factor. If it's anything besides 0, then the answer is no, it's not. So, whoops, that's probably an x cubed, huh? Yeah, x cubed. All right, so what do I multiply x by to get x cubed? X squared. Multiply that back through, and I get x cubed plus 2x squared. And then I'm subtracting these, so again I want to change the sign. 4x squared, take away 2x squared is 2x squared. Bring down the x, yep, plus x. So what do I multiply by? 2x. So that gives me 2x squared plus 4x. Change the signs. X minus 4x is negative 3x. Bring down the negative 6. Multiply by negative 3. So that again gives me negative 3x minus 6. So since those are the same, the remainder is 0. So the answer is yes. X plus 2 is a factor of x cubed plus 4x squared plus x minus 6. All right? Okay, will you pass those forward, please? Synthetic division takes the whole long division thing and simplifies it. Okay? So you're really going to enjoy this. It's a really easy thing to do. The only thing that you have to be aware of, the only thing that you need to be aware of is that you can only use synthetic division when you're dividing by a linear expression. So it's only if you're going to divide by x minus something or x plus something. If you have an x squared or a x cubed or anything like that, then this doesn't work. All right. So let's start by doing the example that we just did, where we were trying to see. Well, let's do the one that Jordan asked for. So we divide, that's number 16, we divided x cubed. Oh, never mind. I'll just do this one, like I was going to. All right, so let's use synthetic division to divide x cubed minus 14x squared plus 51x minus 54 by x plus 2. All right, are you ready?
Is it still 5-4?
Is it what? Yeah, still 5-4. So you're going to start by making a little box right here that's going to be big enough to fit one number. The number that goes in the box is whatever would make this right here equal 0. Okay, so in this case that would be -2. Then you're going to make a row of numbers from there, and those numbers are the coefficients of these 4 terms. So what's the number in front of the x cubed? 1, so I'm going to put a 1 right here. What's the number in front of the x squared? -14, so I'm going to put a -14 there, and then 51, and then -54. All right? And then leave a little space, leave enough space to write some more numbers, and then draw a line. Okay? So this is like the division thing, except instead of dividing like that, we're going to divide backwards like this. Okay? And we're just saving ourselves some time and not writing the x's and all that because it works out whether you do that or not. All right, step 1 is always to take this number, whatever it is, and write it down here. So if it's a 1, you write a 1. If it was a 4x cubed, then you would bring the 4 down. If it was a 12x cubed, you bring the 12 down. Then all you have to do from there is multiply and add, and multiply and add, and multiply and add, and multiply and add. So -2 times 1 is -2, so that goes right here. Add these together and get -16. Where did I lose you? -2 times 1 or -14 plus
You
-2?
never have me. Yeah, I'm kind of. Restart.
No, there's another example. Okay,
Rewind.
just
I get it, we're all right.
okay.
I get it.
Multiply again. -2 times -16 is +32. Now add these together. 51 and 32 makes 83. And then -2 times 83 is -166. And then add those together and you get -220. Okay? So here is my answer. I started with x cubed. So that means this first term is going to be 1 power less, x squared. And then it just drops down 1 each time. So x squared minus 16x plus 83 with the remainder of -220. So that's the same answer that you would get if we did it in long division. It's just a lot faster. What's that? It's the same reason why you always do that in math. You always learn the hard way first, and then the shortcut. We had a big discussion about that in second period. It's like in the video game. Is what we decided. It's like a video game. In the video game, you don't start with all of the powers. You have to play some levels, okay? Get some stuff, and then you get your power up. So you earned your power up yesterday by learning how to do long division. Now your power up for today is synthetic division.
Already.
Okay, yes.
It was 9 to 16. So on the assignment, you have to do it like that.
Just stay with me, okay? I'm going to do 2 more, and I don't want you to give up on this yet because it might be confusing at first, but if you can figure it out, it's way easier, okay? Chris?
If it's like at the beginning where it's like x minus 7, will it ever be like 2x minus something?
You can do it that way, and again, it would be whatever makes the x equal to 0, okay? But I don't think they're going to give you any of those, all right? Sydney?
Why is the assignment 9 to 16?
I never said that's what the assignment was. I don't know what you guys are talking about. All right, so for this one right here, if I'm x minus 7, then I'm going to put a 7 in here. And then this is where what Jordan and I talked about at the very beginning of class. This is the only thing you have to be careful of. I have how many x cubed? Right, I have 1x cubed. I have no x squareds. So I need to hold that place with a 0. Those have to go in order. And then -57 and plus 56. I don't know why I wrote that plus. I don't know why you guys are teasing me about that now. I feel bad about myself.
Because you wrote it, I wrote it too, so.
Yeah, okay, yes.
That's something I would do, I did it before.
What's that?
That was a 0.
7, because 7 minus 7 is 0, okay? All right, what's my first step? What's my first step?
Bring the 1 down.
Bring the first number down. Got to start somewhere,
That.
okay? 7 times 1 is 7. Hold on, slow down. 7 times 1 is 7. I'm multiplying.
Crap.
And then I add these together. 0 and 7 is 7. 7 times 7 is 49. Negative 57 plus 49 is negative 8. And then 7 times negative 8 is negative 56. Add those together and I get 0. So it turns out that x minus 7 is a factor of this because it went in there evenly, no remainder. Okay? And when I divide those two, since I started with x cubed, this will be x squared plus 7x minus 8.
So they didn't know if you would like, there was something different from the extra in the box.
No, that's why you need to have that there so that this will work out in the end. All right? Now, you might see a situation in this, well, we'll just do the two. Yeah.
When it's like x minus 7, does it matter if it's like plus or minus?
It's always the opposite of this. It's always whatever makes that 0.
Oh,
Okay? It's the 0
Yeah, I
of
see.
the thing. Okay? All right, so you can always use these to solve fascinating word problems. For example, if you're doing some arts and crafts and you knew that the box that you were building in your arts and crafts thing, the volume was x cubed plus 7x squared minus 38x minus 240. And you knew that this dimension here was x plus 5, and you wanted to find the other two dimensions, you would say, Grandma, we can use synthetic division to figure that out. Okay? What goes in the box? Negative 5. And then my polynomial is 1x cubed, 7x squared, negative 38, and negative 240. I don't know who makes these things up. I mean, do they just laugh about this when they do it? Or they're really seriously thinking, students will really like get into this because they'll see how they might use it. I don't know. Okay. All right. What's my first thing? Bring down the 1. Yes. Yes.
Do you still bring the first number down if it's not a 1?
Yes. Good question. Okay. Negative 5 times 1 is negative 5. 2. Negative 10. Negative 48. And then 240 gives me 0. Rachel? Question? You have a question? Okay, so you're always taking this number times this one to give you the next one. Add those together. Multiply, add. Multiply, add. Okay? All right, so that breaks this down into what? X squared plus 2x minus 48. Okay, now it says what are the dimensions of the box? Well, we know one of them is x plus 5, and then by using this negative 4 here, now we have a reduced polynomial, so I can take this and factor it the old-fashioned way. What are two numbers that multiply together to be negative 48 and add to be 2? 8 and 6. So x plus 8 times x minus 6. So the dimensions of this box are x plus 5 times x plus 8 times x minus 6. Okay?
I'm kind of like getting confused how to write it in the end, like the x squared.
This thing right here. Well, these numbers tell you these numbers. And then this thing right here, you always go 1 power down from that. Okay? All right, there's one more super handy thing about synthetic division, and that is that it can also be used to figure out the value of an expression at a certain number. So do you remember when we were doing those quadratic equations and we had to find the vertex, and we did the negative b over 2a to find the x-coordinate? And then we took that and plugged it in to find the y-coordinate. A lot of times that was a real pain. You can plug things into equations using synthetic division. So for example, if I asked you, what would you get if you plugged 3 into here? Instead of going 3 to the 5th minus 2, doing all the math, you can use synthetic division to get that answer. The only thing that you have to remember is that now this isn't like a x minus 3 or anything, so I'm just going to put a 3 in there. I'm just going to put whatever that number is in the box, okay? What's that? No, it's just p of 3. There's no x in there at all, okay? Now I do the same thing. I have 1x to the 5th, 0 x's to the 4th, negative 2x cubed, negative 1x squared, 0 x's, and then 2 on the end, okay? So 1, 3, 3, 9, 7, 21, 20, 60, 60, 180, 182. So it turns out that if you go 3 to the 5th minus 2 times 3 to the 3rd minus 3 squared plus 2, you will get 182 as your answer. Okay? And we did that using very simple math. We never had to do 3 times 3 is 9, times 3 is 27, times 3 is 81, times 3 is, we don't have to do all that stuff. So it's way faster. Yes? Right. If it says what is, yeah, you just give the thing there. Okay? One more time, just because it's so easy and fun. What goes into the box? What? Good thing you have such a great teacher. Negative 4 goes in the box. I never give up on any of my students, Brooke. 1, negative 3, negative 28, 0, 5, 20. Okay? So, ready? Real fast. 1, negative 4, negative 7, 28, that's handy. 0, 0, 0, 0, 5, negative 20, and 0. So it turns out that if you were to plug negative 4 into here for x, the answer that you would get would be 0, which means that this is a 0 of the polynomial. Since we used x minus 4, that means x plus 4 is a factor. Okay? And the graph would also cross the x-axis at negative 4. Right. I'm just adding on some extra stuff because I'm annoying. Okay? Can't help it.
Is that right? Wait, did I not know that?
I need to know. Oh. That is 21.
24.
I need to know.
What's 24?
Is it 21 or 24?
Yeah, it's 21.
It is?
Yeah. How's that not a 21?
Oh, I thought it was 24.
See?
I'm okay with 1 poly.
21. Is it?
Oh, you're so sweet to
Get well, food. Looks like a box.
Yeah.
It's an S.
It's a what?
It's S.
It's an S.
There's a different Casey that's sick also. It spells her name with a C. Okay, say bye.
Bye.